the Handy Creators, and in this week's video, we're gonna be completely revamping our front door entryway on a budget.
So we currently have a bit of a bluish turquoise color door. We like it, but we want to bring our door in theme with the rest of our home. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. I'm a little frightened. I'm not sure how it's gonna look because I truly do enjoy the house right now, how it is, but we've always said, oh, this is too different for us. We're gonna do this on the budget and we're gonna be making little alternations here and there in the front area, and we're gonna show you how you could transform your front area. Welcome to our little entryway. We do not have a big entryway whatsoever, so we're very picky on what we put here because we want to decorate it, but obviously we don't want to crowd it too much. This is how it currently looks. We love our door. We love the color, but I think it needs a little bit of a change. So our plan is paint the door. We want to retouch this front area, which it needs. And we also want to retouch the trim around the door, which we will be leaving white. Let's get started.
The first thing we did was clean the area that we were going to be painting. For this, we used water and soap and scrubbed it down as much as possible. We then dried it using our leaf blower since we were trying to get this done as quickly as possible. You want to make sure the door is fully dry before starting. Once it was dry, we began sanding. We used 400 grit sandpaper and sanded in the direction of the door, especially around these corners where certain areas go vertical and other go horizontal. Once you are done sanding, you want to grab a clean cloth to wipe down any excess residue. Next, make sure to mask up any area where you don't want paint to get on. For us, it was the interior trim of the door.
Okay, so I think we're all done and prepped. Now we're gonna start painting. We're a little nervous, but we're gonna get right to it. I want to explain to you guys how to paint the doors. We're gonna start with number 1. It's gonna be all of these. Then number 2, we're gonna go sideways. Number 3, we're gonna go vertically on the middle, obviously avoiding the side ones. And then number 4 are gonna be the sides. We're gonna start painting with the door closed, and once we get to the edges, we're gonna open it up so we could get the edges inside.
We used a synthetic brush to get paint into the crevices and then used a smooth roller to apply the paint on the other surfaces. You want to make sure that you are painting in the direction of the door as well. We will make sure to link everything that we used in the description below. Once we were done painting the entire door, we got started on the trim. We used the same brush to apply paint on the entire trim. We did not care to be too careful as we were going to retouch the white area at the end. We let this cure for 2 hours and then repainted the entire door with a second hand. For the second coat, we used a different technique and repainted the entire door. Once done, we waited 2 hours and we were still not satisfied with the finished product, so we gave it a third coat. For some reason, the paint was not adhering smoothly, so we painted it again and waited another 2 hours. On the fourth coat, we decided to resand the entire door and reapply the paint in the same method previously described. Right here, along all these connections, what ended up happening was that the paint would dry faster than we were able to reapply it. So all over you can see those connections. We don't know if this was just a one batch issue, but we will be resanding this door and painting it with the Valspar. Before painting the door with the Valspar, we went ahead and retouched the entire white trim. Unfortunately, we did not record us repainting the door as we had to end up unmounting it. If you can, this is the best method, but it did the trick. To paint this connection, we used a trick that we have seen online, where you tape it up, apply the base color paint, and let it sit for a few minutes. While that was drying, we began painting the floor. After a few minutes had passed, we applied the new paint over the white area that we had just painted, as this was going to allow us to get that crisp line. We made sure to spread the paint out evenly and then removed the tape for that crisp edging. We finished painting the floor and then started working on the final touches. We measured the size of our roof and then headed to Lowe's to pick out our woods. We used the woods that were outlined below and took our time. For this project, we used 3 different sizes of woods. As you can see, we have lots of fun picking our wood. With the assistance of our little helper, it was time to begin cutting. We first measured the 1x2x8 and cut them down to size. For us, that was approximately 55 inches, and this was going to serve as the base for the project. Since we were going to be working against gravity, we decided to pre-drill the holes and also screw in the screws. That way it would facilitate the installation once we were up on the ladder. Since these woods were going to be installed horizontally, we applied the base structures for support on the edges and then 2 feet apart. This was going to allow the woods to sit nice and firm. Once the base was installed, we began cutting our 1x4x8s to size. For us, that was approximately 70 inches. And we cut these down on our miter saw, which we will link below. We then began installing. For the installation, we purchased a compressor and nail gun and simply nailed the woods onto the existing base. This facilitated and sped up the process tremendously. To make the necessary cut for the electricity, we placed the wood and marked it with a Sharpie. We then made a semicircle and used our miter saw to make small cuts that we can then chisel out. For this, you can use a jigsaw, but unfortunately, since we did not have one, this was a budget-friendly option. Once that was done, we continued the installation. Once all the horizontal pieces were installed, we used 2 1x3x8s on the edges as we felt that this would give it more of a finished look. We then used wood filler to fill in any gaps that might have been left from the nail gun and sanded it down with 220 grit sandpaper so that once it was stained, it wouldn't even look as if it was there. For the stain, we purchased a Minwax Rustic Beige 281 to achieve the finish that we wanted. We applied it with a cloth and used a Q-tip to get into any of the edges that the cloth could not achieve. Once we were done applying the stain, we waited 10 minutes before coming back with a clean cloth to remove any excess stain, and with that, the wood was complete. A special thank you to our friends over at Pat Foner for sending us this beautiful light fixture that completed the transformation. It was very easy to install and can be assembled in just 10 minutes. This light fixture is extremely sturdy and contrasted beautifully with our entryway. We will make sure to link it below. And with that, we call this project a complete success. We definitely recommend this to anyone that is looking to revamp their entryway, and this was a 10 out of 10 success.
I think the only thing we need to say is we loved the outcome more than I think expected.
We struggled a bit to actually paint the doors. You guys saw we had to give it multiple coats, but I would say if you have the ability to, just unmount the door, put it in your garage or in a separate area and paint it there. It made it so much easier and it allowed us to get into all the crevices that we wanted to.
I absolutely loved the outcome. I want to be out there 24/7. I think what really made the whole space was what we did on the roof. That completely changed a different atmosphere, and the chandelier just made it classy, you know? So we loved it, and we hope you guys did as well. So make sure to like, subscribe,
and turn on that little notifications bell so you don't miss out on any of our videos.
Yes, and we'll be back next week with something else. Let's see what it is this time.
Bye.